Hello friends, this is Darren Hayes of Pigskin.com. Before we take you to your favorite Sports History Network show, just want to tell you a little bit about some merch that you can pick up that represents your favorite SHN podcast. So far, there's t-shirts, coffee mugs, and even books from some of the authors that do podcasts right here on SHN. Who could buy something better than that, than have the history right from the gentleman that you hear talking about it? But we also are adding things each and every day. And where's that store, may you ask? Well, it's at sportshistorynetwork.com. Up at the top, there is the SHN merch button. Click on that, it'll take you right to the store, and you can be representing your favorite podcast and show the world that, hey, on the swag that I'm using, it's the headquarters of sports yesteryear, Sports History Network, and my favorite podcaster, the Sports History Network store. Shop there today. Now it's time to take a sports break, a look at sports history on a daily basis. Hello, my friends of sports history. This is Darren Hayes of the Sports Jersey Dispatch podcast. Welcome once again to the Pig Pen, your place for all things great in sports history, and welcome to your sports break for this January 25th edition, as we will talk about some of the milestone moments in sports history that took place on January 25th, the athletes that performed them, and the uniform numbers that they may have worn during those great events. Now, before we get started, let's make sure that you know about our daily newsletter. It's so easy to sign up. You can cancel at any time. Go to the show notes of this very podcast and sign up with 2 simple questions. And every day, 6:30 a.m., you'll have everything that's going on in the Pig Pen. Pigskin Dispatch, Jersey Dispatch, Orville Mulligan Sports Writer, and many items from the sportshistorynetwork.com. So make sure you sign up as soon as you can. It's real easy to do. Now, for those uniform numbers we'll talk about for this January 25th edition, it's numbers 13, 27, 4, 5, 7, 36, 16, 7, 11, 66, 23, 30, 19, 99, number 9, and 88. January 25th, 1960 is our jumping off point, and once again, old number 13 put up some major points. Hall of Fame center Wilt Chamberlain poured in 58 points, the most ever recorded by a rookie in the league, as the Philadelphia Warriors downed the Detroit Pistons 127 to 117 in a game played in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. That following year, January 25th, 1961, Frank Malkovic of the Toronto Maple Leafs lit the lamp twice in a contest on the ice against the Montreal Canadiens, in which Toronto triumphed 5-3 in that game, and the significance was that it was number 27, Malkovic's 39th tally of the season, which set a Leafs record for goals scored. Speaking of hockey, in 1972, on the 25th in the NHL All-Star Game, the East defeated the West 3-2 at the Metropolitan Sports Center in Bloomington, Minnesota. The game's MVP selected was Boston's defender, number 4, Bobby Orr. On January 25th, 1975, the 10th hat trick in New York Islanders history. Well, that belonged to number 5, Dennis Popkins, and it was his first of his career. January 25th, 1977, the 30th NHL All-Star Game at the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, British Columbia. Wales defeated the Campbell Conference 4-3, and the MVP was number 7, Rick Martin of the Buffalo Sabres, who played left wing for that club. And on January 25th, 1978, the San Diego Padres acquired pitcher Gaylord Perry from the Texas Rangers in a trade for Dave Tomlin and $125,000. Perry, who wore the number 36 for the Padres, ended up having a tremendous season in San Diego, good enough to take home the Cy Young Award that year. Now let's make sure that you're aware that we have, some great podcasts coming out every day of the year. You are very easily can go and check them out anytime you want. You can go to jerseydispatch.com, type in a date that you want, and voila, you'll be there and you'll see the history of that day along with our podcast. And you can go back to last year's podcast of January 25th. And we had a very special guest, Mark Morthier of Yesterday's Sports. And he got to talk about one of his prized possessions from a great athlete. And I think you'll really enjoy that from that last year's podcast. So let's flash back. It's on the front page of Jersey Dispatch today, right below this podcast that you're listening to. January 25th, 1981, it was Super Bowl 15 at the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans, and the Oakland Raiders beat the Philadelphia Eagles 27-10. Most valuable player of that game was Jim Plunkett, number 16 of the Oakland Raiders, who played quarterback. And in 1986, on the 25th of January, Edmonton Oilers number 7, Paul Coffey, set an NHL record for defensemen with a point in his 28th consecutive game as the Oilers beat the visiting LA Kings 5-2. In 1987 on the date, Super Bowl 21 at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, New York Giants defeated the Denver Broncos 39-20, and the MVP chosen was New York Giants quarterback number 11, Phil Simms. On January 25th, 1989, Pittsburgh legend number 66 Mario Lemieux scored a goal and 3 assists in a Penguins 5-4 victory over Winnipeg in Pittsburgh. He set an NHL record by picking up a point in 14 consecutive games, at a record that stood for 10 seasons. On January 25th, 1989, Chicago Bulls superstar number 23, Michael Jordan, I want to be like Mike, scored his 10,000th NBA point in just his 5th season. In 1991, on the 25th of January, the St. Louis right-winger number 16, Brett Hull, scored twice in a Blues 9-4 win at Detroit to give him 50 goals in just 49 games. He became the 3rd player in NHL history with 50 goals in less than 50 games. In 1998, it was Super Bowl 32 at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. The Denver Broncos beat the Green Bay Packers 31-24. The most valuable player selected was Denver's future Hall of Fame running back, number 30, Terrell Davis. In 2009, on the 25th of January, the 57th NHL All-Star Game took place at the Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec, and the East beat the West 12-11. A lot of scoring in that game, and a tight game. MVP selected was Montreal Canadiens right wing, number 27, Alexei Kovalev. And in 2015, on the 25th of January, the 60th NHL All-Star Game at the Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio, and Team Taves defeated Team Foligno 17-12. MVP of the contest was Columbus Blue Jackets, the hometown boy, number 19, Ryan Johannesson. Also in 2015, they had the NFL Pro Bowl on the 25th of January at the University of Phoenix in Glendale, Arizona. Team Irvin beat Team Carter 32-28. The MVPs were Houston Texans defensive end number 99, J.J. Watt, and the Detroit Lions quarterback number 9, Matthew Stafford. In 2020, on the 25th of January, we had another NHL All-Star Game at the Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri. The Pacific All-Stars won a 4-team 3-on-3 tournament. The MVP chosen was left wing Boston Bruins number 88, David Pastrnak. And finally, in 2022, on the 25th of January, the Philadelphia Flyers defenseman number 3, Keith Yandle, became the NHL's new Iron Man as he started in his 965th consecutive regular season game, breaking number 21, who also wore number 27 in his career, and 25 at two, I believe, Doug Jarvis' all-time record in a 4-3 loss at the New York Islanders. And that's your sports break, a little bit of sports history from January 25th, and we hope you enjoyed it. Got to talk about a lot of great stars from the hockey, football, and basketball world, and we really enjoyed doing this each and every day. And remember, you can always go back and find them. So, we're going to be probably beginning of February going into some other programming, but if you want to have these dailies, so easy to go back and look at them. And they also they appear when you visit jerseydispatch.com. Every day we have the new days popping up on there, and at the top of the site you can see there's an on this day button. You click that on this day, there's a calendar, takes you to any date that you want to go to, and you can listen to these podcasts, read about them, or whatever you want to do. We're going to be having some great things coming up on these dailies. I think you'll really enjoy jerseydispatch.com. So till tomorrow, everybody, have a great sports history day. This penalty kill is almost over. I got to get back out on the ice. But thanks again for joining us for another great edition of Sports Jersey Dispatch Podcast. We'll see you tomorrow. We invite you to check out our websites, jerseydispatch.com and pigskindispatch.com. Not only see the daily sports history, but to experience the preservation of great events and people that play the games. Find us on Pigskin Dispatch. It's also on social media outlets of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all your daily sports history. Pigskin Dispatch is happy to be associated with the Sports History Network, the sports headquarters of yesteryear, found at sportshistorynetwork.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com. Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, aka the Football History Dude, and I hope that you enjoyed this recent episode presented by the Sports History Network and were able to learn some good old-fashioned sports history knowledge nuggets. I started the Sports History Network back in 2020 with the mission to help podcasters find a community of like-minded sports history nerds, as well as helping aspiring podcasters to start their own shows. We have a little bit over 30 shows on the network right now covering all sorts of sports history, but as far as I'm concerned, we're just at the toothpick in the ocean moment, that can't even figure it out because there's so much more coming. We wanted to create the ultimate headquarters for sports yesteryear, starting with Podcast Network and our website, but we're going to continue to move into other mediums as well. And here's the cool part, because we want you to be part of our team. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or maybe being a guest on one of our shows, or who knows, maybe even writing an article for us over on the website. Seriously, all you got to do is reach out to us on the contact page over at sportshistorynetwork.com. You can be as technologically savvy as a Neanderthal tapping on a stone trying to figure out this whole hieroglyphics thing back in the day. Again, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't understand the whole podcast space, we have a production team that can pretty much help you out with doing everything. All you got to do, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com, head to the contact page, fill it out. That message goes right to me, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. But for now, dude, I'm through if you're through.